Can you see my presentation screen?
Yes.
Okay. So, in the last class, we have discussed about the functions, right? Okay. So, we have discussed about the functions where we have seen like how to write a function. Like we have also seen the examples of the function. So on the day we haven't seen the like full definitions or the syntaxes. So in this class we will go from again from the starting of the functions, like understanding what is a function, what is the need of a function, and then we'll cover the how to write a function, like a syntax to write a function. Then we'll cover few of the examples. Okay. And as size for me was not there in the previous class, this class will be like a recap also for the previous class, and we will cover a few additional topics. Okay, so not only in the JavaScript, in any of the programming language, the functions plays a key role. In some programming languages or in some scenarios, we call these functions as methods. So we'll come to know when we call methods and when we should call functions. So in any of the programming language, either it's Java, JavaScript, Apex, Python, everywhere functions plays a key role. Now, in JavaScript, so what is a function in JavaScript? Simply, if you see, it is a small block of code. Like if you see in this example, there is a small block of code, right? This block of code is nothing but a function. Okay, is nothing but a function where this function will do certain task. Okay, this function will do certain task and return to the return to the place or return the value what it is performing on the task. Like if you see the pictorial representation, this is the main function or main JavaScript code. Okay, there are some hundreds of lines of code. Now in these lines of code, if somewhere someone calls, I mean somewhere in this some 100 lines of code, I call my add, then what a computer will do is it will execute. Okay, what is there in my add? It should take two values. What are two values? A comma B. So it will take two values A comma B, then add it. Okay, then again return the value to this main calling function or calling place. From wherever it is called, there only it will return back. Okay, but before returning, what it does the task it has been assigned to do. Okay, we'll see practically how it functions. So basically you have to understand it's nothing but a block of code, not a single line of code. It's a block of code which perform certain task and returns the value, and is executed means when this line of code, when this block of code will be executed, whenever something calls it or invokes, we say invokes it. We'll see what is invoking or what is calling, and what is this return statement, how to write this line. But now just understand it's a block of code for like a design to do particular task. It will do particular task whenever something calls it. Okay, now let me go to the next slide. Hmm. Hmm. Now why we should have the functions, like a need to have functions in any programming language. What is the need actually? We'll see. So before going to see the need of the function, I want to explain you syntax first. Syntax to write the functions. So in the JavaScript, not in any of the programming language, in JavaScript especially, if you want to write a function, we have to use this keyword. Okay, function. We have to do right like this one. For maps, you write map, right? For sets, you write set, like new set, or for creating a variable, you write let. So these are keywords in the JavaScript programming language. So like that, there is a keyword called function. So if you want to write a function, then you have to write in this way. Now, if I go to the example, go to the example. So let a equals to 5, like this, we'll write like this, right? Then let b equals to 10, then let c equals to adding the value of a plus b, then console dot log c. So this is how you'll write a simple code to add to variables. Now let me write a function. So to write a function, what we need to use, like to declare a variable, you use let keyword, right? So to write a function, you have to do function variable, or sorry, function keyword, and space. You have to give the name of a function. Name of a function can be anything, but always remember that you have to start with small letter, and you should not start with some numbers like 5, like this. You should not write 5, 6, my add. So there are some naming conventions. Then we have to follow and write the name of the function. After that, you have to write a parenthesis. Okay, you have to write a parenthesis. In this parenthesis, what we can give is parameters. Parameters, suppose x comma y. So these are called parameters. In the parenthesis, while declaring the function, or while writing the function using function keyword, we use something called as parameters. Not only x comma y. If here I can use number 2, number 1 as well. So whatever, here these are called parameters. Okay. Now inside the function, you can add them. Let result equals to num1 plus num2. Return result. So what will happen now? So how many lines of code is there now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let me show what will happen now. These all lines of code will be present here. Okay. These all lines of code. Let A, let B, let C, then some printing statement, then function. Function will be present as a block. Okay. Function will be present as a block. Now again after this function also I may write let c equals to again one I mean a minus b, then console dot log c. Okay, now if I print it, one second, c is already declared, so I can't redeclare it. Let me just change the value. So if you see, is there any impact on the function? Means the whatever the lines of code there before function or after function are getting executed. Okay, are getting executed. But is the function getting executed?
No.
No. So it is because the function is defined. Okay, function is defined, or we say declared. This is called declaration and this is called defining. Means what should the function do? So the function definition is there, the block of code is there, but there are other lines of code which are getting executed, and before also there are some lines of code they are getting executed. This function is not being executed because it is not called. Okay, it is not called, or we say in programming terminology, invoking a function. So it is not being invoked or called. So to execute this block of code, this whatever this function block of code is there, to execute that block of code, we need to call that block of code. Okay, or we have to say we are calling or invoking a function. So now let me do the invoking. So I have written my function. Now after declaring or defining my function, I am calling. How I am calling is let after adding equals to some, after add or let after add equals to, see if we want to call someone, what we will say, we will use the name of that person, right? So this function is also having a name called myadd. So to call this function, we don't need to write again this function completely. What we can do is we can just call the function by its name. So copy the name and paste it. Now you're calling the function. Okay, you're calling the function, but the function is having two parameters defined in it. I mean, two parameters. So if you want to call or if you want to use this function, what you have to do is you have to pass this. I mean, you have to pass the values to that function. Okay, you have to pass the values to that function. Let's say 5 comma 1. So this means you are calling the function by passing the parameters, the value 5 to the num1, 1 to the num2. Okay, so now after calling the function, let's print the result here. Console dot log after add. Did the function work now?
Yeah, 6.
6. We got 6. Means what's happening internally? Again, every time in the starting stage of programming, you have to draw a pictures. You have to practice programming with by drawing the pictures or creating the flowchart or writing the pseudocode. I'll tell what is the flowchart and what is the pseudocode. Now This is a big, how many 19 lines of code is there? 1 to 19 lines of code. Now in this 1 to 19 lines of code, there are some instructions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 instructions are there. In the sixth or seventh instruction, there is a block of code. Now this block of code, if no one is calling that block of code, then the computer will skip that code. Okay, computer will skip and go to the next code. But somewhere, if someone calls it, then it go to the block of code. Okay, it go to the block of code. Then whatever the lines of code it has are there in that block of code will get executed, and at the last, if we write return, there is option to not to write return also. But if there is a written inside the function, if there is a return statement written inside the function, then it will return whatever the value we have given in the return statement. So what we have given, take two numbers, add two numbers, store the result, store the value in the result. Then after adding whatever the result you get here, then return that result. What is the result? After adding 5 plus 1, it's 6. So the 6 is returned. Where it will get returned? Whoever calling that function. So here we are calling that function. Where here we are calling that function. Okay. So here the value of is written. Now what is the value now? After calling, after returning, I mean after calling, then calculating, then returning, the value is 6 here. So 6 will be assigned to the variable after add. We are printing after add. We got the after add. Clear?
Mm.
Sai Swami, is this clear? You have a doubt or you have question?
No.
Clear for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so in this writing like a block of code, what we are using is we are using a keyword called, this is keyword called function. Then after writing that, we are using or we are giving it a name, my add, my subtraction, or you can say add two numbers, print two numbers, whatever the name, that name you have to give. This is called name. Then after that, we have to define parenthesis. If you don't write parenthesis, the computer won't think this is a function. Okay, it gets confused actually. So it's always preferred to write like this parenthesis. Inside parenthesis, you may or you may not give the parameters. Okay, here I have given two parameters. You can give three parameters or four parameters like that, or you can give no parameters. You will see the different ways of different. I mean, passing different parameters or passing no parameters. So we have to give the parameters. These are called parameters. Parameters. Now, after this one, after parameters, we have the certain task, means whatever it needs to do. This is task. Then after completing the task, we can return or we may not return. Here I'm returning. So return the value. Okay. So this is nothing but a syntax to write a JavaScript function. So syntax to write, 1 second. Publish. I have shared. I'll share on. So this is the block where we have, like, you can use it as a notes for functions. So let me open that block. Now, see, this is the syntax. Okay. You have to write function, then function name, then pass it as a pass parameters. Okay. Then you can do something. You can print the parameters, you can add the parameters, whatever you can do. Then after that, you can return the result. Okay. Is this clear? Hmm. Now you can call the function, like we'll see after, like defining, means after knowing returning statements, then we'll come back to this example. Now, so function syntax will contain function declaration, naming, then parameters in parentheses, then code. Whatever the code needs to be do inside this curly braces. Okay, inside this curly braces, we will have the code. So I hope this is clear to you. Now, when this function will be called, or like what when with this function will be called, or how this function will be called. Now, why we are learning JavaScript? Because it is used in Salesforce and it is like related with the front end technology. So what are the front end technologies till now we have studied? HTML and CSS. Now let me open a website. Let me open a website, any website. Hmm. Hmm. One after opening this one, let me open like a, you know this, right? Opening the developer tools. Hmm. One second. This is not a perfect example, I think. Let me open the new one. Just to give me a minute. Okay, so let me click on create new account, or let me open this page. Now click here and more developer tools and developer tools. So what happened here is, if we go till here, if you go till here, here you see the button, right? Here you see the button. Okay, button, login button. Now, in this login button, what happens is, if someone clicks here, what should happen? What should happen? It should go to some page or something, right? It should go somewhere. That thing will be defined here. Means if you see this script, right? This is nothing but JavaScript. Okay. This is nothing but a JavaScript. Now let me filter it on. Filter it. So what it is telling? On click, go to this function. Okay. This is nothing but a function. So whenever someone clicks on this, then it is telling to go to somewhere. Okay. So this is like use of function. Now, what is the use of function? Whenever someone clicks on any of the HTML button or element, what should happen? It should create a new page or it should go to the new page. That thing we can define using the JavaScript function. This, you have the confusion like, oh, what is this all? No, right? This is the HTML elements, link element, these are. Okay. Like that, you have a script element. In the like elements, in the elements, we have like a link, title, then you have div, like defining the particular block. Like that, we have script elements. Okay, we have script elements. Inside that script element, we can write the functions. Okay, see, this is a function. Whenever someone call this, so some particular task should happen. Whenever someone calls this, then particular task should happen. Now, what is like I'm telling, someone calls it, right? Now, whenever someone clicks on this one, whenever someone clicks on this one, so what should happen? It will be defined here. Okay. It is defined in this function. This on click, okay, on click or on load, I think not there. On click is there in this. So on click, like on load, we have like 1 second. I will tell you JavaScript events. Yeah. See, on click. This is like event. Okay, like that. On change, on mouse, like if I hover here, what should happen? On mouse out, on key down, on load. So they like this, there are events. So these events, what they do is, these are HTML events actually, or JavaScript event. This will trigger, or this will call the functions. This will call our function. We'll see practically, but to explain this first statement, I have shown the example. When a specific event occurs on the websites, such as user clicking a button, okay, then we can call a function in the backend. Okay. So this function is called like that. Again, when someone clicks, what should happen? Again, like that. There are different uses of the function. Now, this is the one of the use where in the HTML elements, when someone clicks on this, so what should happen? We can define. We'll see practically. Don't worry. invocation in a code means inside a code like this. Till now we have seen that example only. Where is that? Okay. So here what happened? Here we are invoking it in a code. We are writing it in a code. We are calling it in a code, not like in an HTML page. Okay. This is called invoking in a code. And then the third one is automatic executions. So there are certain functions which execute by itself. We'll see the examples, but there is no need to call that function. They are like a special function. Those are called special functions, where they will be executed by themselves. So before knowing that function, there are some other topics to know. So just for now, remember there are 3 ways to invoke a function: triggering a event, calling a function inside the code only, then automatic execution by themselves. Okay. Now, function return. So return we have seen. This is called return. Now, let's do something. Let result to equals to name1 minus name2 return result 2. So what will be the after add? What will be the result here? Let's write out instead of after add, result of function. Now, if I print the result after function, so what will be the value here? Either will it be 6 or 5 minus 1, 4? Just think.
Minus 1, 4.
Because we think that this is first. So after doing this, again we are doing this one. So what is the we know the final value will be the the final execution value will be the final value in the result. So in this example, first we are adding the C in the A plus B, we are adding and storing it in C. Then here we are subtracting A minus B, then storing it in C. So finally we got a C as a subtraction. You are thinking same will happen here also. Now let's see. What is the result?
Minus 1.
6. 6. Now let me comment this one. Let me comment the return statement after addition. What is the value now? 4. So what happens is, so a function is called. Inside this function, what we have is calculating the result by taking that whatever the numbers passed to it. So it added 5 plus 1. Okay, it added 5 plus 1. Now, what a computer encounters is return statement. This is called return statement. So computer thinks that, okay, here I got a return statement. I have to halt the execution here only. I should not go beyond this line. So this is like telling the computer that the function should end here. And whatever the result here, that should be passed. Okay, that should be passed. Means the value will be 6. So if you write the statements after the return statement, there is no use. Okay, this will not be executed because whenever a function sees a return statement, then the execution stops there itself. Okay, that is the here a return statement. When JavaScript encounters a return statements within a function, the execution of that function stops. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this I will tell you the before that, let's see this one. computing return values. Functions often perform computations and yield a return value. See, this we know, right? Means before returning the value, it should do certain tasks, perform certain tasks, either addition or subtraction, or you can even write simply number, return number, doing nothing. But it's waste of doing that, doing nothing, right? Means we have to do certain tasks, then only we have to return. So that is the telling here. We should keep in the mind that just don't return the blank values. Do certain for computation or do certain calculations, then return. Now, after where it was written, the value returned to the caller. Who is the caller here? In our example, this is the caller. Okay, here it is getting called, right? So then whatever the result is there, that will be passed to here, either 4 or 6. So this will be again assigned to the value here. This is this, like writing let a equals to 5. Now let or result of fun is equals to 6 or 4, because this function will return a value. Okay. Now see, now this function is getting called here. Okay, this function is getting calculated and the values are getting calculated and the result is getting stored here and the result we are getting here. Now, is the code is getting stopped here? Is the code getting stopped? No, right? Because after this also, code have some values. So
Yeah.
whenever you are calling a function from the main code, the function is getting executed, then getting the return statement here and printing or doing some whatever it wants. And after that, if there are certain lines of code, then that codes will be executed. Okay, like in the function, if they encounter return statements, it is neglecting or it is not considering the values or the statements after return statement. That is with respect to the function when we have the return statement. But inside the main code, if whatever there are certain lines of code after they calling the function, that codes will be executed as it is. Okay, it's just calling, doing certain tasks, and then returning and then executing. Okay, clear?
Mm.
So that is execution resumption. Okay, halt, compute, return to caller, then execute the next. Now, hmm, let me write let me write few examples. Hmm. Instead of adding, instead of adding, or let us consider adding only. For now, let us consider adding. Now, let me remove the other lines of code. See what we are doing now? Passing 5, 1. Now, let result of fun, like result of function, like second, let's consider it as a second result, calling the same myAdd function, but different values now. Different values. Then, like this only, I want to print it. So, like this one, I want to print the result too. So now same code, okay, used multiple times, right? I can do like this any number of times, passing different values. Just I have to change the return values 3, 4, 5, 6, because variables can't be of same name. You can't write let a. So that's the reason I'm changing the variable names here. Page. Now, how many times I am calling the function? Almost 9 times, right? How many times I have written the function? Hello?
5.
Only one.
Only once. I have written the function only one time. Okay? The function I have defined only one time, but I am calling it number of times using the same code and for different values. I'm explaining two things: writing one time, calling multiple times, like code reusability. I want to use this code multiple times. So I don't want to write again here result equals to num1 plus num2. Just I can call that function and pass the values. The code will do the rest. This function will do the rest. So this is called code reusability. Means writing the function one time, then calling it multiple times. Okay. Now you are calling the function with different values. Each time I'm calling different values. This is called versatility with arguments. Means these are, I told you parameters, right? Parameters are not also called as arguments. Okay. Now here num1 and num2. So this num1 and num2 are fixed here. But whatever the values we can pass to this are not fixed. We can call this function with different values passing to the num1 and num2. When I call my add 33, 323, then num1 will be 33, num2 will be 323. So like that. This is called versatility with arguments. We can use the same code again and again, and we can use the same code to calculate with different values. Okay. Now we have like a modular design and efficient programming. Now, if suppose you are building a calculator program, okay, if you are writing a calculator program, now if you want to build a calculator program, then what I'll do is my add, my subtraction, my multiplication, my division, Then inside the subtraction, I use minus symbol. I use multiplication. I use division symbol. Now, oh, sorry. Let me comment this one. Comment this one even. So, did you remember the if else statements? Yes or no? No. If, let us write, let user selection equals to some add here. Add. Now I am doing a calculated program by using functions and if statements. If user selection equal to add, then I want to call my add function. My add function, I need to pass it a value. Let me take let a equals to 55. Let b equals to 45. Now I want to pass a comma b. Let answer equals to some value. Okay, not let here. Let me write let answer. So answer equals to, I'm storing the value by after calculating. Now else if same. User selection equals to subtraction, then write my call my sub function. Else if this session equals to null call my else if session equals to, then call my division. Let me write the else if nothing is selected. Console dot log. Please provide correct selection. Pooja, can you explain this if else?
Yeah.
Tell me. So tell me just tell me if I write here mul, what happens?
Like user selection equals to null.
So it goes to this one. Okay, it goes to here. It will check for user selection equals to add, then it checks for subtraction, then it checks for multiplication, then it checks for division. So it will not go to division because here only it gets satisfied because it gets the true value for the if statement, because this is true, user selection is equals to null. So when this happens, what happens? This part of code will be executed. This is the nature of the if else. Whenever any if is true, whatever the code that is there inside that if will be get executed. Now answer whatever we have declared here is equals to my mul a comma b. So my mul, where is my mul? It should go till here. It will search here now. My add, my sorry, myself, myself, my. What happened? How many times I heard it? Just to give me 1 minute. 2, 3. You have 4 times now. addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So which function will be called? There are now 4 functions. So whenever this is getting true, mul function, my mul function will be called. I am to my mul function, what values we are passing a comma b, 55 into 435. So at the final console dot log, if I print the if I print the result, the result, like what is the result, where the result is stored in the answer variable, right? In the answer variable, the result is getting stored. If I print the result here, 400. Where is my one? Oh, everywhere I'm doing addition only. The result here. If I change the value here, clear? Okay. Now
Yeah.
this looks good, right? Because for every task, there is a function particularly defined to do the task. Okay. Now this is like a small task. If there is a big task, like if you take, for example, JavaScript code for prime numbers. One second. Check for prime number. So how much big line of code is there? This much big line of code is there. So if I copy this complete code, or like if I, one second. Copy, then go here. Let me write a code here. Function check prime positive value, only one value it is taking. So positive value, only one value. Just call it number. So see, if you see here, how many lines of code is there? Like almost it's like a big line of code now. Now, if I want to use it in my calculator, else if user selection equal to prime or check for prime, like that, anything I can tell, then call, what is the function name? Check prime. Check prime. Then pass it a value, a value of age I'll pass, because it is only taking one value or one parameter or one argument. I'm passing only one value. Okay. Okay. Let me call that function now. Instead of user selection mul, let me change the user selection to prime. You got the undefined, so it's okay because we are not printing here. We are not answer is nothing right here. We are not returning the answer. Here we are finding either prime or no. Here only I am printing. Okay, I am not returning anything from this function. So that's why it got printed. 5 is a prime number. Now let me change it to the some value like a value. Let me change it to the 15 is not a prime number. So even I'm calling this much big function, almost see from here to here. This complete function 9 to 43 lines of code. This function even I'm calling by only calling it in with a name. I'm not writing the complete code here. But whenever this function is called, it is doing certain task. Okay, it is doing certain task, whatever it has been defined in that, and returning the result or calculating, printing the result there only. So like that, with the help of functions, your code is well structured. For particular task, a particular function we can define and we can use it whenever it is necessary. If there is no need, just don't use it, just keep it. Okay, just keep it. That's it. Because somewhere you can use it again in future. So like that. Modules, like your code is split into the modules. Module for addition, module for subtraction, module for checking for the prime number or checking for the composite number. So like that. Is it clear? Functions is most important topic. So we have to remember these points here and why we use functions. Functions contribute to the modular program structure. Code is organized into independent units, or like you can say independent blocks, like promoting clarity and ease of maintenance. Now, if someone tells you, hey, your prime number program is not working well, just check your code. Will you check the complete code or will you go to the particular function? See, if someone asks you, there is a issue with prime number. So will you check addition, subtraction, this all lines of code, or will you just check this almost 30 lines of code? You there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So generally, if there is a bug in your code stating that there is a issue with the prime number, means if you are passing even a 15, it is not calculating. It is telling that it's a prime number. So where you will go to find that bug? Will you go to the entire code or will you just go to this function?
Will go to this function.
Yes, because you know that you have a function particularly performing the checking prime or composite numbers. So in that case, you'll go to that function only because you have the clarity. So this is the use of maintaining the functions in your code. Always write a function for any task that helps you debugging the code, or if you have any issues, any bugs, then you can go to that code only. If someone asks, I don't want this like this statement, just a print 15 is a composite number. Where it is, yeah. Oh, sorry. So I can write here 15 is not, instead of not a prime, you know that this statement is getting print inside the function check prime. So you'll go to that code and you'll change the statement. So this is the use of maintaining modules in your code, or let's say functions in your code. Okay, clear? This is all about the functions. Now, let me Go to the blog. So I have a notes clearly written here, and I have given the examples also. Go through them. I'm adding even this example, whatever we have learned till now. Just complete final example also. I'm adding to that blog. Just 1 minute. So just go through each of the examples. If you have any questions, let me know. This is very important topic. In the next classes, we will use the arrays, for loop, and many more on these functions. Even we'll combine this HTML or Visual Force pages with these functions from next class. Okay. Now we'll be jumping to the Salesforce programming. By knowing the functions, and there's only one topic left, objects and classes. So if you are done with that two things, then we are good to start the programming with respect to Salesforce. Okay, so just to go through them, practice well. If you keep on practicing, it will be much easier. Okay.
Programming means it's like it's not part of JavaScript. It's another thing.
No, it's JavaScript. We'll combine these three: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and make a Visual Force pages in Salesforce.
Oh.
Okay. And there is one another programming language. This is a front end technology, right? There is a back end technology in the Salesforce, that is Apex. That will be starting in the next week. So before starting Apex, there are certain administrative topics which we have to learn. So tomorrow and day after tomorrow, we will not be having the programming class actually. Just I will be clearing your doubts. I want you to practice these questions and practice these topics. Do practicing multiple questions, multiple coding examples. Tomorrow and after tomorrow we'll complete some administrative or automation related concepts of Salesforce. Okay. You remember the objects, field creation, master detail relationship, lookup relationship. These all you remember, right? In Salesforce.
Mm.
Okay. Have you practiced formula fields?
Formula fields, yes.
Okay. Try to take the examples like from Google or somewhere and do more practicing on formula fields. If not, I'll only provide today on the formula fields. Tomorrow, also we have time now. Let's take 5 minutes break and complete one more topic, like which is similar to the formula fields. Okay. I will come in 5 minutes. We'll complete that. And tomorrow and day after tomorrow, we can start the automation concept of Salesforce. Then in the next week, then directly we'll jump to the Visual Force pages and Apex. In the next week only, once we complete the Apex, we'll start with LWC, Lightning Web Components, which is used mostly. If you know Lightning Web Components, if you're in India, you may get a 25 lakhs package if you know Lightning Web Components. If you don't know Lightning Web Components, if you know Apex, you'll get 15 lakhs package. So that much huge difference is there when you have the skill of Lightning Web Components. And in the Lightning Web Components, JavaScript is the main fundamental. So wherever you see in any of the tutorials or somewhere, if they are teaching the Lightning Web Components, they are not teaching the JavaScript or HTML or CSS. They are directly starting the Lightning Web Components, and because they are thinking that Lightning Web Components is related to Salesforce, so learning Apex is enough. But no, if you want to make sure you are have a grip on Lightning Web Components, then you have to practice JavaScript, main JavaScript. Everything in the Lightning Web Components is HTML elements and JavaScript. Okay, so that's why now this JavaScript, HTML, CSS, you are knowing, you are learning it as fundamentals or blocks. These blocks you'll combine, then you'll build a components, web components. These are in my classes also, in my schedule also, I have given only 2 or 3 classes for JavaScript and HTML, CSS. But later I felt that if I teach LWC, that will not be enough. I have to teach this one as well. So I'm going in depth in JavaScript. Okay. So Apex we'll see. And JavaScript will not stop here because it's like continuous. Even while learning the LWC also, I'll be teaching few other concepts of JavaScript. There are some advanced concept. Now this core part is done. There will be advanced part that will be done like in the upcoming classes. But it's till the end of this this training, you'll be learning JavaScript only. Okay.
Oh.
Right then. I'll take 5 minutes break and I'll come back and then we'll see one topic of Salesforce.